Good morning. Mainly what I was exploring this morning in my morning pages was this cycle of being really good and then being really bad. I don't know if other people can relate to that. Right now I feel like I'm on an upward spiral, and it's one of those things where it's hard to know where it started. But it's like I started eating better, and then I started listening to non-dual talks more, and that made me feel better. And then I started watering my plants, regularly, and that made me feel good. And I started doing some morning practices. It started with pranayama in the morning, and now it's this, going in the woods. Now I'm even going to bed early and waking up early. I've stopped spending hours vegging out on YouTube. Actually going to these events that I'm always, like kirtan and meditation and stuff, where they're in my schedule, but I don't always actually go. So it's kind of like all of these positive things are building up, and this vlogging thing too is an exciting thing. And it's all building up, and it's causing me to feel really good in my life. And I notice a difference, people around me notice a difference. And then I start to get nervous because I'm like, yeah, I am feeling really good. I'm on this upward spiral, and I'm not totally sure what started it, and I'm not sure how to make sure that it doesn't stop. And so I started writing about that in my morning pages. I was brainstorming about what brings this to an end, like in the past, because I've gone through plenty of, ups and downs in my self-care and my routine and everything. And so I was exploring, what is it that usually causes this type of an upward spiral to end? And I came up with a couple of things. And one of them, I think, is that ADD understimulation thing. It's like I start to get bored. And I could already feel it this morning, that this is the third day in a row that I've done this same thing of waking up early, going in the woods, recording something. The first 2 days it was really exciting. Today it's starting to feel normal. And when things start to feel normal, I start to feel unmotivated. So what do I do about that? One idea is to change something. So if it starts to feel too normal and too boring, then it makes sense with ADD that in order to get my brain stimulated, I have to change something. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. Maybe I can just go to different woods, or wake up earlier, or something. Find anything to change just to keep myself interested. The other thing is maybe I can do something that stimulates my brain right before, like if I wake up and I'm not feeling motivated, maybe I can do some brain stimulating pranayama, like Kapalabhati, which is, well, that's another video. So those are a couple of ideas, but there's more to it. There's more to it than just getting bored and understimulated. The other thing is, I think that the shadow side wants to be expressed, because I start to feel like, oh, I'm doing all these good things, I'm just being so good all the time. And some part of me starts to feel rebellious about that. I'm like, why do I have to be so goddamn good all the time? Why can't I don't, fuck you guys. I don't know, a rebellious part of me comes out. And so what to do about that? There's got to be room for that. So that's where, well, there are two things. One is, there's this wonderful book called Owning Your Own Shadow, which talks about how everyone has their shadow side and how it needs to be expressed in a healthy way, or else it'll cause us to sabotage ourselves. And I'm not sure what a healthy way of expressing my shadow side would be, but that's something that I think is worth looking into too, is there something that's safe, that doesn't hurt anybody, that I can do that makes me feel kind of bad? One simple thing, though, which is another part of my little plan, is I like to skip things. I really do. So, like, for instance, this waking up in the morning and doing a vlog thing. There's gonna come a day, probably soon, where I'm gonna want to skip it. I'll be like, screw you guys, I don't want to do it today. And I think that what I should do in that case is, I know that about myself, I know I need to skip things. It actually makes me really happy to skip things, because it's like this break from structure, and structure starts to feel really heavy to me. So, skipping things is good, I think, but the problem is that once I skip something, I tend to want to skip it again, and then all of a sudden I'm not doing it anymore, and that's when the downward spiral starts. When I stop waking up on time, I stop feeding myself as well, I stop doing all of the, different meditations and different things that cause me to be like a really balanced and vibrant person, and everything just like backslides, and that's when I'll start like finding solace in mind-numbing hours of video. So the idea that I had was that I get a certain number of skips per week where I can skip any activity, and it has to be limited to that number of skips. So if I've already skipped that many things, then I can't skip anymore. I have to do the other things. And I'm not sure whether or not that will work. I don't know if I'll rebel against that, but it seems like a nice balanced thing. I was thinking maybe starting with 3 to make it easy, and then maybe over time I can reduce it down to 2 or 1. That's a thought. And the other thought is, I know that I need to have like brain unplug, vegging out time. I think I need that. And maybe I should actually plan that into my day. Like have a certain evening per week, just like I have Tuesday is kirtan night, Wednesday ideally is either dancing or meditation. Like I can find another, Thursday is usually networking. Maybe Monday night can be like vegging out and watching a movie or watching videos night, and I can like have that actually like planned. So these are all of my attempts to try to control life, make sure it stays good. And I know to some extent there is foolishness in that, because it's not really in my control, but I still want to do the best I can because I like living this way. But the other thing that my higher power pointed out when I was writing and asking questions this morning was, well, hey, have you noticed that generally everything's been getting better for you over time? Like, even though I have these ups and downs, haven't my ups gotten higher and my downs gotten higher? And haven't my ups gotten longer and my downs gotten shorter? And I realized that that is true. I mean, waking up early and doing some type of a positive routine is something that didn't used to even exist in my life at all. I remember when I started trying to do it and how hard it was, and how I could only maintain it for a short amount of time, and then I would stop for a year or something. And now, I don't know, I can maintain it for months, and then I can lose it just for a few months and then come back to it. So I guess it's a very gradual process, like years. Like, I don't know, I was probably like 20 when I started working with it. I think it was actually my first Ayurvedic consultation that got me interested in waking up early and doing a good routine for myself, because it gave me a reason that I understood for why I should. Because he was saying that we have cycles, according to nature, where it's like biorhythms. It's kind of like the Ayurvedic take on biorhythms, where certain times of the day, certain energies are prominent in the body. So from 10 to 2, whether it's AM or PM, that's Pitta time, which is fire. So that's when, during the day, from 10 to 2, your digestive fire is really, really strong. And from 10 to 2 in the middle of the night, the fire is meant to be cleansing your organs. You're supposed to be asleep so that fire can cleanse your organs. And then before that, so 10 to 2, 2 to, I think it's 6. Yeah, 2 to 6 is Vata time. That's the air and the ether. So that's when you're more spacey, more creative, more likely to feel anxious. I don't remember what's meant to be happening. I think that's a good time for spiritual practice. So that is why from 2 to 6, that's the best time to wake up, actually before 6. So I'm still not quite hitting it, but it's hard, man. I've been waking up at 6:30 and snoozing once or twice. That's the shadow side too. Letting myself snooze feels like that's kind of a little bit of my rebel, and I just have a limit on it. I'm saying, okay, 2 is the most I can do. And then kapha is the other one, so what is that? If it ends at 6, it starts at 4? No, 2. I'm not good at this. This is an ADD thing too. Simple mental math is a problem. So the other time gap that I haven't mentioned yet, 10 to 2, 2 to 6, 6 to 8. No, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 6 to 10, yay, I got it. Okay, so 6 to 10 is kapha time, so that's when you feel heavy. And that's when you have the most momentum and inertia. So waking up after 6 o'clock is much harder. The later you sleep into kapha time, the harder it is to wake up. And think about that. For people that sleep far past 6 all the time, don't you just want to keep sleeping until 10? And that means that you're sleeping through kapha time into pitta. It's easier to wake up once the energy shifts into pitta, into fire. So anyways, that's a whole thing for you that I didn't even mean to share this morning. Have you noticed I'm speaking up more today? You're welcome. I noticed that the videos were quiet, so I'm trying to make myself project. The reason partly that I have been so quiet is because I didn't want people to overhear me talking to myself in the woods. But oh well, it doesn't seem like anyone's around today. Yeah, so I'm in a tree now. That's something different. Haven't done that in a while. I actually was feeling a little nervous climbing it, which is unusual for me. I'm not sure why, but anyway. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that some of these thoughts might help you in making your own positive shifts. Have a beautiful day.